What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak, and we have a very special guest on the show with us this week, former San Diego State Aztec and Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer, Kabeer Gbaja-Biamila. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Kabeer.
Hey, thank you for having me, Alex. I'm glad to be here. This is a kind of a good setup here.
Yeah, this is awesome. It's an honor to get to talk to you. For those of you that don't know, Kabeer, KGB, former San Diego State Aztec, all-conference defensive end, and Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer. Let's start at the beginning. You attended Crenshaw High School in Los Angeles, right?
Yes, I did. I was at Crenshaw High School from 92 to 95. And so those are the years I was at. They call it, if you ever seen the movie Boys in the Hood, I always joke around and say that I went to Crenshaw. I mean, I remember, because if you get to know me, I'm a nice guy. So I always, when the guys on the team knows I'm a nice guy, I say, I'm from the hood. They say, you ain't from the hood. I said, you can see my school on Boys in the Hood. Yeah, but that ain't you. But yeah, that's Crenshaw High School. I did go there with Daryl Straw. I mean, not with Daryl Strawberry, but Daryl Strawberry went there, the baseball player. I don't know if you're too young to remember that, but just some, I think a basketball player, some greats, and many more. So
that's very cool. And you were a 3-year letterman in both football and track and field. And as a senior, you were named Central City Defensive Lineman of the Year. What was it like growing up in LA and attending Crenshaw High School? And did you have NFL as a goal back then?
I did not have the NFL in goal, but growing up in Los Angeles during that time, I grew up during the time and the era of the Rodney King riot, the whole LA riot deal. I grew up in the time of gangs, and, I got to be, I wasn't one that hung out in the streets. So that's one of the reasons why people may joke around that I'm not, into that. But I did grow up, my dad did a good job in rearing us up. A boy of, I think it was seven of us, 6 boys, 1 girl.
Wow.
So when I went to school, the only time I could hang out outside the home is I had to be doing some type of activity, either sports or some type of after-school program, but I was not allowed just to hang out in the streets or everything like that. So, so playing football and running track was the thing I did. So I think I actually ran track to be a better football player because it was promoted on I remember walking through the hallway and they say, hey, if you want to be a better football player during the offseason, you can run track. So I ran track and ended up running, doing my events was the 110 high hurdles. My second event was the 300 intermediate hurdles, and I hated the 4x4 because it was just too long. But other than that, but I think it really did help me to be a great football player because there was a saying that we always said, at least in track, and it carried over to football: speed kills.
Yeah,
so that's kind of what helped me in my my college and my pro career is the speed.
Yeah, like you need that chasing down those elusive quarterbacks and running backs.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
So then, what was your college recruitment experience like, and why did you end up choosing San Diego State? Did watching Marshall Faulk have any part of that, or?
Actually, I was not aware of Marshall Faulk like I am now, and obviously have a greater appreciation for Marshall Faulk going to the school and then seeing him later. Yeah. So I miss Marshall Faulk. He left his junior year, and so the year that I came in, he was not there. But if he would have stayed one more year, we could have been teammates at San Diego State, or at least I would have been on practice squad or what they call a retro freshman. No, I went there because there was only 2 schools coming after me. It was San Diego State, Colorado State, and then San Jose State. So those are the only 3 schools that really were interested in me.
Wow.
Some of the schools that I was really interested in trying to go to was UCLA or USC, but because I came from the hood and they just didn't take a lot of people from that area. And I really wanted to go to school for business. And so it just wasn't an opportunity for me. So out of then it got narrowed down between, I had a great recruiting trip at Colorado State. I had a good party. I mean, whatever party that they threw for you or the recruiting trip or whatever, great time. Had a horrible time at San Diego State. Got made fun of by some of the guys that are being recruited. Wow. I remember going to the hotel and like crying, like, I don't want to go, like, I hope I don't see those guys here. And then San Jose State was good because it was known for its business, academics, and I just wanted to be like my dad, be a plumber and get a business degree to make his business better.
That's cool.
But anyway, long story short, I felt that Coach Ken Delgado at San Diego State was the defensive line coach at San Diego State, and he was the recruiter. And so he recruited me, and I could tell he spent more time out of all the coaches. He could tell I was a student first. And he knew that I was really into my academics, and football came second.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going to San Diego State, and it was the best thing that I could ever did. I had Ted Toner as my head coach, and Claude Gilbert. We were just on Facebook with some of the guys that played for Claude Gilbert, defensive coordinator, and we were just joking about all the when he'll throw his hat down and just like he said, you look like Tarzan and you play like Jane, and all of his sayings, and wondering, like, did he always do this stuff? There was one guy that played with Diallo, and he says that if they put your brain in a bird, it will fly backwards. And everybody's just reminiscing with the good old sayings that Claude Gilbert used to say and everything. But yeah, so I ended up picking San Diego State. It was the best choice. And like I said, I didn't know about Marshall Faulk, but obviously I appreciate the history. I mean, you had like people like Brett, the guy that played Hunter. He was there. Carl Weathers played at San Diego State, played Apollo Creed in on Rocky. So there's a lot of history there. And I'm just glad I went there. Don Coryell. I mean, it's so much history in San Diego State have. So it was an honor playing for that school and representing.
That's very cool.
I know I gave you a long answer, but that's
no, I like it.
You got me going back to memory lanes.
No, that's cool. Get you talking. That's good stuff. I mean, you killed it while you were there. 3-year starter, 4-year letterman. You'd finish your career as the Aztecs' all-time sack leader, which that record still stands to this day, I believe.
It does. And it's interesting, too. I mean, when that record was set, it was set in 1977 by Mike Douglas, who also played for the Green Bay Packers. And he's still in San Diego. And it's interesting when I got to San Diego State, obviously playing at Crenshaw High School, you're just, I was a D lineman and a blocking tight end, but more of a blocking tight end. And I think being a tight end helped me to learn what's hard to block as a defensive player. And so, but I say all this to say this is when I got there, I didn't even know just to go back to my high school days, I didn't even know that they had an award for a defensive line, because I was averaging 2 sacks a game, like 2, 3 easy. That was like, that was the normal, but it didn't make the headlines. It was only the running backs, the receivers, quarterbacks, and then the kicker, So I was shocked when I became, lineman of the year. And then when you go to college, I wasn't getting the 2 sacks like I was accustomed to, but I was getting 1 here, 2, I'll have some, games here and there. But in college, they actually keep track of the stats. And,
there you go.
It's a big deal, So I wasn't used to that attention and being the face of the team, because usually in high school, quarterbacks, like I said, was the face of the team. But anyway, I remember going to so when I went to San Diego State, I went to the back of the book, and they had stats, all time, records and stuff. And I remember seeing Mike Douglas there at 20, I think it was 24 sacks or something like that. And I made a goal. I said, my goal before I leave San Diego State is to break that record. Not that I thought I was going to do it, but there's something about writing down your goals. There's something about having something to shoot for. So one, I was a little guy anyway. So for me to be able to be in position to break that record, I had to gain weight. I had to get in the weight room. So there was things that led to that ultimate goal. There was times our team was getting our butt handed to us. I don't know if the language here.
No, you're good.
We were getting our ass handed to us. But still, I always had something to play for. I said, okay, maybe we can't win this game, but I can still get my stats up. I can still keep playing. So that was just my mentality. I was a guy that just kept on having that motor. I just kept going. And by the grace of the Most High, I was able to break the record. And I broke it by a lot. I think it's at 33.
9 sacks,
33 sacks. So it's still holding up today. And I'm surprised after 20 years. And I was thinking when I broke it, I was 20-something. I was thinking about 20-something when I broke Mike Douglas' record. So it seemed like it's about that time where maybe somebody will come along to break it. But with all these COVID-19, maybe I'll hold on to it
longer. That's awesome. That's crazy. Yeah. That's a real cool story on, saying I want to break that record, as a freshman, working towards it. That's very
And
cool.
I started off as a redshirt freshman too, so it wasn't like I didn't come in and was the guy. I had to start off as just the practice squad guy, or not, they don't call it practice, but redshirt freshman. And I
Mhm.
remember there was a guy named Ed White. I don't know if you ever know. Ed White used to play for the Minnesota Vikings, and he
Okay.
was an old time, but he was our O-line coach. And I
Okay.
remember one day I was sick from practice in college. I was sick. I don't know. I mean, I really missed practice. And I remember one of the offensive linemen, I think it was Ephraim Salam. Ephraim Salam played at San Diego State. One of my teammates with Kyle Turley on the other
Yeah.
end as an offensive tackle. And he said, man, where were you? And I said, oh, man, I just wasn't feeling well. He says, man, it was very noticeable that you weren't at practice. And mind you, I'm just a redshirt freshman. It's like,
Yeah.
nice, boom, I'm right there, right? And he was telling me, he said, Ed White says, hey, don't be surprised if you see Kabeer playing on Sundays, Sunday meeting,
Yeah.
the pros. And I'm just thinking like, okay, I'm just a redshirt freshman. So when you tell me, did I have any idea that I would make it to it? No, I did not. Okay.
Okay.
So pretty much I remember Ed White was when he told Ephraim or the team that, hey, don't be surprised you're going to see the guy playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
What that did for me was it made me say, okay, if Ed White believed in me to do that, then I'm gonna make sure I do everything in my power to make that happen. Now I got to tell you, a lot of guys who had great potential to play on Sundays, they tend to do what I would call save themselves. They wouldn't want to get hurt their senior year. And I
Yeah.
remember I didn't want to be that guy. I said, you know something? I'm going to be the best college player I can be. If the NFL is in the works, it will be in the works, but I'm not going to hold back. And I remember just giving it everything I got. And by the grace of God, I was able to, get drafted by the Green Bay Packers. I was the highest draft pick for San Diego State, at least. I was picked to, get drafted or whatever. But yeah, so that's
That's
kind of
awesome.
my little college career there.
Yeah, and a hell of a career. And then in 2000, you would declare for the NFL draft. You'd be selected in the fifth round, pick number 149 overall by the Green Bay Packers. What was your draft experience like, and were you hoping to go a little bit higher, or were you just happy to get selected?
I was just, to be honest, I mean, I knew that I wasn't going to be drafted in the first day. In the draft, I don't know what the draft is like now, but
Mm-hmm.
in the draft, usually the draft is 2 days. I think it was 2 days back in is it still 2 days or is it different?
I think it's like 3 days now. It's like first round, and then second and third, and then the rest, or something like that.
Okay, yeah. So they did not. It was not as high tech back then, but I knew I wasn't the first day draft pick. I knew I was going to be a second day where they do the first three, the first round, and the remainder. So
Mm-hmm.
the first day I just went to go watch a movie. Didn't think nothing of it. I wasn't one of those guys that thinking I'm going to get drafted, high or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the second day I was at home just watching him, by myself in my apartment. And I remember just getting a phone call and I see my caller ID is from 920 or Green Bay, but I wasn't even putting two together. I was just,
Yeah.
just watching the draft like everybody else, right? I normally didn't watch the draft. It was boring to me because I always wanted to stay I just wanted to always stay focused where I was at and not be, looking too farther. I just wanted to focus on today. So
Yeah.
if I get a call and somebody say, hey, this is the Green Bay Packers, we're going to be drafted, you go check out on TV. They're gonna announce it, So I went in there thinking I'm gonna see my highlight tape, and all I got was my name scrolling, Nothing special, no highlight tapes, it's all good. So anyway, I got drafted, and I was happy to be a Green Bay Packer, and got to talk to the media. And I
Yeah.
was actually drafted. I can honestly say I was drafted the same time. I was drafted higher than Tom Brady. Can you believe that?
That's great.
I mean, I was picked higher than him. I just it blows me away. It's not. I have a saying. It's not how you start. It's how
Yep.
you finish. So
Yeah, exactly. They didn't play your highlight tape. You made your own at the professional
yeah,
level.
exactly.
For
Yeah.
sure. So going to Green Bay, did you know, first of all, where Green Bay was? And did you know about their history or tradition?
I knew about the Green Bay Packers. Everybody knows about the Green Bay Packers, but I did not know where it was located, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought it was somewhere in Antarctic where it's really cold and they got the frozen tundra. So
Yeah.
I did not know where Green Bay was. obviously everybody know about Vince Lombardi. We had drills called the Lombardis where you go up, down, and I hated the Lombardi. So you knew about Bart Starr, you knew about all of the, the Green Bay Packers, Paul Horney, the Willie Davis, you heard about all the greats, but that's about, it. But now, and to be honest with you, I really wanted to get drafted by the San Diego Chargers. I really, because I didn't want, I'm a cheap guy, was good with my money, and I didn't want to spend, relocate. And I was really trying to, get the Chargers to like me and everything, but they never. I mean, I actually even went to their facility, to try out for them, and
wow.
They obviously they didn't think that I was in their cards. So anyway, I ended up going to the Green Bay Packers, and the rest was history, because it's the only team, I can honestly say, it's the only team I've ever played for. I've never played for any other professional organization. So I can, so I ended up, starting with the Packers and ending with the Packers. And I actually got cut twice. Believe it or not, I've been cut twice by the same team, Green Bay Packers. I was cut my first year because I didn't make the second wave. So I made the first wave, I got cut. They put me on practice squad, and then I got cut, eventually, to into my career. So,
yeah, I didn't know about the first cut, because I saw a little video on that, you saying that, and I did all my prep for this, and I didn't know about that first cut.
Oh yeah, I got cut, but you don't notice because I was put on practice squad. So I had to clear waivers, make sure no one picked me up.
Okay.
I was able to be on practice squad. And my attitude, I was kind of like, when I got cut, I was like, whoa, I left everything. I got me an apartment. I got my dog. I had all these thoughts going through my head. And I remember saying to myself, I said, hey, you know something? I'm just going to have the same attitude I had when I was at San Diego State. I'm just going to look at myself as redshirt in the NFL. I get to against Brett Favre and his crew every day. I'm going to give them the best look. And that's kind of how my attitude, and I looked, and you know what I did? I looked behind the back of the book again, and I wanted to see who held the record for sacks there. I did time, and I looked, and it was the great Reggie White. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, I told myself, I said, one day I will break his record too.
That's so cool.
And I even had like a thermometer. I don't know if I pronounce it like a thermostat or a thermometer. So I'll put down his number, where his number is at. And every time I would get a sack, I would just kind of, color it.
Nice.
So my career, and I think I'm going to find that so people don't know. But I kept them on the screen, until I basically broke it. So I ended up becoming the all-time sack leader. Then it was broken by, who is the guy that broke it now? I should know his name. Matthew.
Clay Matthews?
Clay Matthews. He broke my record. So
okay.
He was a good player. He broke my record. So records are not meant to last. So, but my San Diego State's still there. San Diego State's still in there. So
no, that look at the back of the book and saying I'm gonna break those sack records. That's what I'm talking about. That's legendary stuff right there. That's cool as hell.
But you have to have something that you shoot for, And so that was kind of like my goal. So that's what kept me in the weight room. That's what helped me to learn to stop the run, because I was a small guy. And so they wanted to use me as a third down specialist. And I was saying, well, the math is not going to work out. I got to be out there as many times as I can, because I like to take advantage of play actions, because play action, the quarterback holds the ball longer. So I'm here calculating. So I'm like making sure that I can get the starting row, so I can get, as many sacks as I could to eventually break the record. So it was good.
And that takes sacrifice on your part. That takes like being disciplined, because a lot of pass rushers don't like to play the run D, don't like to make that tackle and stick their nose in there. They want to get the sexy quarterback sack, strip sack, stuff like that. But you put in the work to stay disciplined on your gaps and how you pass rush and tackle the running back too.
Most definitely, but I won't lie. If I played for Indiana's Colts back in the days, I would have loved that, where they just pass rush all the time.
Yeah,
but I just didn't have that. That was not that's not the cards that I was dealt. And so you had to learn how to stop the run to be able to put the confidence in the coach to say, hey, okay, he can stop the run. He's a good defensive end. He's, and so it allowed me to do that. So yeah, it took a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. And like I said, and they also poured over even to life after the game, I got to tell you, but just having that mindset. So, I mean, the hardest, I think I'll wait till you ask life after the game, but there's a lot of principles that you can take from the game. You don't have to just say it's only for the game. You can use it. So yeah, I got it from my dad. Whatever you start, he said, make sure whatever you do, finish what you start. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was my attitude, is always just, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna give my very best, you know, and make sure that when I look back on it, I can say, wow, look at the work that I've done, you know, and be an example,
Absolutely.
be inspiration to others, but be inspiration to my children too as well.
Absolutely. Those are great lessons to follow and to learn. Um, so let's go to your rookie year in 2000. You mentioned, getting cut and being on the practice squad. What was it like coming up with, established veterans like Brett Favre in that locker room? And then didn't you have a little bit of like a friendship with Reggie White when you were starting out?
Yes, I did have a relationship with Reggie White. I actually, Reggie White reached out. I mean, you know, he would come to the stadium and hang out, you know, how some veterans players would do.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to know him there. And I remember one time he was at my game, or he was not in my game, but he was at the game. But he was at the game, just, you know, doing his Packer duties or whatever. And I remember just thinking, I gotta get a sack. And I remember he pulled me off to the sideline, trying to give me some tips. I'm like, wow, this guy used to Tecmo Bowl with, so I know what it's like to be a fan. I'm like, wow, he's giving me advice. I said, okay, Reggie, I'm gonna go out there and get it. You know, I mean, it was even shocking too to even be teammates with Brett Favre, because, you know, obviously Brett Favre was like maybe in his 10th year in the league by that time. So I was in junior high when he was playing, and I played with him against Tecmo Bowl, and that was our Nintendo back in the days. I know I'm so old, but
I know that shit.
I remember when Brett Favre came and he shook my hand and said, "Hey, my name is Brett." I'm like, "Yeah, who doesn't know who you are?" You know,
Yeah.
and I remember saying, "Brett, hey, Kabeer, go get us out, go out there and get us one." It was like, wow, it was like being in a movie. I gotta admit, the first year was so surreal. Can you imagine just? I mean, it's not like I thought I was gonna ever make it to the NFL. It's not like it was like my dream aspiration. But once I was there, I said I was gonna be the very best and be the very best pro player I can be, and just playing around like guys like Brett Favre, Leroy Butler, Gilbert Brown, the Grave Digger, you know, Bonnie Holiday. I mean, all these guys. I mean, it was just, I mean, you know, William Henderson, and it was like I felt like a little boy in the candy shop, just, you know, wow. And then it just get to a point, say, okay, I gotta get a job here. But anyway, but it was good to know. Yeah, like I said, but it was good to get to know Reggie White. I got to know him on a professional level, just as, you know, with the football playing the game of football, but then also on the spiritual level, you know. So that's kind of where I really got to know Reggie White more on those things, and just things that he was discovering as he was reading the Bible and coming into the truth and everything. So that's kind of, and then unfortunately, I remember we was getting ready for the Minnesota. We heard they passed away. You know, we were getting Minnesota Vikings.
Shocking.
Yeah, so it was tough. It was tough to lose a great man like Reggie White.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's good stories. Now in 2001, so it didn't take long for you to make your impact. I mean, your second year in the league, you have, a career high, 13 and a half sacks. How did you make such an impact so quickly once you got your opportunity?
Well, I started off I think it was the second year. It was my first year in the league. Not my first, but second season of of my career. I was just a third down specialist. I was able to get the role. They drafted a guy named Jamal Reynolds
Mm-hmm.
out of Florida State. I think it's the Seminoles or whatever. And he just did. I outdid him in training camp and was able to get that position, the pass rush specialist role. And that's pretty much just a backup. And so no one really knew me. I had a quick first step. It was very hard. People, in practice used to think I used to cheat all the time. I mean, they always had the saying, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So cheating, so that I can hear Brett Favre giving the count, like, hey, second color. So I had great anticipation. And I didn't use it all the time, but I used it enough to sometimes jump off sides and
a little bit.
Yeah, but it was just but my first second season, I ended up having like 9 sacks in the first 4 games.
Wow.
And only 2 people at that time only did that. It was Mark Gastineau for the New York Jets, and it was Kevin Green for the Rams, or I don't know other teams he played for, but he had 9 sacks in the first 4 games. And the only difference between me and those guys is I wasn't a starter.
Yeah.
I was strictly – so when I came out, everybody knew I was coming out. They knew exactly what I was there for.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, when you became Defensive Player of the Month, I think it was that September, I became Defensive Player of the Month, and being on the top chart of leading the league in sacks, it made it very difficult to get more sacks.
Yeah.
Because, of course, they thought I was going to break the record, but people started scheming against me. And so it actually became harder. So I was a no-namer. No one knew who I was, and I was able to just kind of – I kind of came, by surprise, And so eventually you just had to learn how to take on double team, chip blocks, slide protections, and so the game got harder, but I adapted, and I think I did. I had a great coach in Jethro Franklin. Jethro Franklin was my position coach.
Okay.
He was like my sensei, whatever you want to call it. He also pissed me off. He knew how to get underneath my skin and everything, and he pushed me. He pushed me, and I remember when I was just a rookie, and I was watching. He was in his office. And he was watching Simeon Rice. I don't know if you remember Simeon Rice.
Yeah.
Watching Simeon Rice for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I was thinking like, wow, that's Simeon Rice. He's good. Mm-hmm. And then I remember Coach says, "Come here, you're going to be better than him." And I'm like, "Look." He says, "Just the tip of the iceberg." And I didn't know what the tip of the iceberg was. When I thought the tip of the, I thought it was the tip of the stuff that you see, like the very tip. One day I was in the meeting room. He put a picture of an iceberg, and you can see the tip, and you can see the under the water. I'm like, oh, that is. I said, that is the tip. I thought it was the tip of the tip, but it was I was looking at the tip, and he said, that's the potential that you have. So I grew up in the hood, so forgive me.
That's awesome, man.
I grew up in there. There was no snow where I grew up. So, but anyway, so he told me I was gonna be better. He says, well, how's that? He said, I'm gonna make you do things you don't want to do, so you can go to places you always wanted to go. Yeah. And so he did make me do things I didn't want to do, but it took me to places that I always want to go. I ended up having a great career, ended up making, a lot of money. Get a big contract because of the way he pushed me. So I can't say that, everything was just so. I mean, yeah, I had some God-given abilities. I had some, intestinal fortitude, but I had great coaches. I had great teammates. Just the people around me. I had great guys that allowed the quarterback to hold the ball just a little bit longer and give me opportunity to get to the quarterback and everything. So I would say a sack is, even though I get the credit, but it is most definitely a team sport. And the team, I would say it's a team stat most definitely. And the fans play a big part in that too. So, but anyway, yeah. So that's how I would explain that situation.
And that's a benefit to being drafted by a well-run organization that has the coaches in place, the ownership in place, to the players, the veteran teammates that they bring in a prospect and develop and get the most out of you. And, it turned out to be a Hall of Fame career with them. So
yeah, actually, I was drafted by Ron Wolf. I think it was his last draft class. So wow. I think Mike Sherman was taking over, but I was the last one. And he was known for drafting people in the lower rounds, and they end up becoming not a bust, but a surprise or a steal.
Hidden gem or whatever,
yeah, steal or something like that. So it's an honor to even be said that Ron Wolf, had an eye, and he's the one that got the great Brett Favre and put that great Super Bowl team together with in the 90s there. So, but yeah, but like I said, the organization helps, coaching help. I think Mike Sherman did a great job. It was an honor playing for him. I wish we could have got him the Super Bowl. I believe that the Super Bowl that Mike McCarthy got really was a tribute to Mike Sherman and what he instilled, that culture. And that's all I knew. I only knew him, and then eventually Mike McCarthy. But I think Mike Sherman did a great job. So, and then Mike McCarthy too. He was a great coach. I learned a lot of good things from him as well. So.
Yep. Let's go to. So you had to go up against like the greatest show on turf with Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. How difficult was it as a pass rusher going up against such an explosive offense?
Well, I had to go up against somebody like Orlando Pace, so that didn't help.
Yeah.
But it's actually exciting to go up against a team like that, especially as a pass rusher, because they passed a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I can say I got Kurt Warner one time. Had some guys that played on that team that I went to college with Aztec. I think he played on that team.
Mm-hmm.
I think Oz and Kyle Turley. I think he played on
Kyle
that
Turley.
team. I think he played for the Saints at that time,
Yeah.
but I ain't played when he was the Rams. So, and then Marshall Faulk. I think I did get a chance to go against that maybe one time towards the end of his career. But like I said, it was great to be able to go against that. But you don't like when they score on you. But as a defensive end, you rise to the occasion. You know, it's a great challenge, a great opportunity to be able to play against a great team. So, but we didn't do well against them, I don't think, if I remember correctly.
Can't get them all, but yeah, that was the greatest show on turf for a reason.
Yeah.
So let's go to 2002. You had a great year, 12 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and a Monday night game in Champaign, Illinois against my Bears.
I remember the Bears. The Bears.
You had a strip sack.
The Bears. You guys say that about yourself, or is that just what other people say about the Bears? The Bears still sucks.
No, that's other people.
Okay.
I mean, it applies this year too, but what are you gonna do?
Okay.
No, you had a strip sack on quarterback Jim Miller, and then the very next play, your only career interception goes. You take it 72 yards back for a touchdown. You had to be in the zone in that game.
It was an exciting game. I gotta tell you, the night or the morning of that game, because it was a night game, Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
John Madden announcing it, I believe, but maybe it was John. I don't know what channel it was, but anyway. But I remember that morning I was rooming. Me and Amon Green was roommates.
Okay.
And, Amon has a tendency to be watching Walter Payton highlight tapes. You know,
There you go.
Okay, so, but anyway, we were watching TV, or it was on the TV of the NFL highlights, or you know how the NFL shows the moments or whatever, highlight moments or whatever. So anyway, but they were showing Don Beebe. I think it was Don Beebe, and he was running. And he got for the Buffalo Bills, he got to there, he put the ball down, and before he could cross the line, somebody was able to knock the ball out of his hand. So he had this great, I don't know if it's Don Beebe, but somebody, maybe Don Beebe knocked the ball out of a D lineman's hand.
Okay.
And I remember saying to myself, I said, if I ever get in that situation, I am going to run all the way through. I'm not going to mess around. Yeah, it was Don Beebe that knocked it out of somebody's hands. Who had he didn't get the touchdown because it was actually a fumble. And so it was crazy. This moment comes, and the ball falls in my hand. And because it was at Champaign, and I will never forget this because it was the stadium was under construction. Soldier Field was under construction. So we were at the college. And they had the TV screen on the field. Like, I don't know how big it had to be, like 50 yards, which is a big TV, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm here running. And I was trying to use the what I could see on the screen. It was right on the field. It wasn't up at top. It was literally, I can literally see my face, but they zoomed in on my face. And so I'm running, but I can't see who's behind me. So I'm thinking I just really got to run as fast as I can.
So there was like nobody close to you.
But I didn't know. I'm thinking like somebody's on me. I couldn't hear. I'm just moving, right? And then I finally get in there. I look and there's no one around. Then everyone jumps on and everything. I was gassed for the whole. I think it took me 3 quarters to recover. I think I had to get to the third quarter to recover. But if I would have known, it had a little bit of a visual, I probably would have ran so fast. If you've seen the highlight, I went back into my track mode. So now you know it was going to my track mode, but I didn't like the fact that they had it on my face. I wish they would have showed the whole body, but anyway, I just wanted to tell you just the inside of what's going on.
No, that's cool. That's why we do those, to get that inside information there.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst.
It was great to get. I mean, I was gonna say this, but it was great to get a touchdown.
Yeah.
Not just on any game. This was Monday night. That means everybody across America, football fans saw it. That's how that's the time to shine, is during Monday Night Football. So I think that helped my career a lot, is having, and being a Packers always had opportunity to play Monday Night Football. I remember it was a big deal, and we had a lot of Monday night games or Thursday night games where we were the only game on that was showing. So it was good to be able to rise to those occasions. So
That's awesome. Now, okay, so throughout your career, you had to pass rush against some of the most elusive quarterbacks all time. I'm talking Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb, Dante Culpepper, quarterbacks like that were hard to bring down. How do you think you would do in this era going up against Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson? Do you think your skills would translate to this era?
oh, most definitely, most definitely. Because I think I was before my time. I think I would have done well, especially if I had the knowledge I had. I don't have the body I have right now, but if I had,
in your prime,
yeah. But I was able to. I mean, I can honestly, I can say I got a sack against Michael Vick. You know, I got against Michael Vick. I was very proficient. I think most of my sacks came off of Dante Culpepper. I think I sacked him 6 times. Obviously, we played twice a year, and so I had more opportunities with him.
He was so big. He had to be tough to bring down. He was so big.
He was bigger than me. I mean, or the same power. He was a big boy. But I was able to get back there and disrupt him. But I think the reason I actually personally I love going up against those type of quarterbacks because I was a finesse guy anyway. So being around those guys and being able to get it just got you excited. It's not like, oh man, we have to play them. It was like an excitement. To tell you the truth, I wish I would have played earlier in the NFL where I got to go up against like Barry Sanders. Like, man, what would have been like, even if I got juked by him, but at least I could have said that I went up against Barry Sanders, you know, like, whoa, you know, and, you know. But I think that I could, but I did get Michael Vick. We was able to corral him because he was a shorter guy. Yeah. So we were able to, you know, control those guys. And I think that the guys I think the same guys, I think with my skills and what I know, I think we could have, you know, created some pressure for those guys that you mentioned for today.
Awesome. Now, 2003 was a crazy year for you guys. Very crazy. Going to that Monday night game that everyone's always going to remember against the Raiders with Brett Favre a day after his dad died. And, you know, to go off for 4 touchdowns in the first half, it just seemed like it was meant to be, you know, to have that kind of special game. And I watched a video where you saying that you actually were there to try and console Brett Favre before the game and stuff. You were your brother was playing in that game as well as a Raider.
Yeah. So it was a lot going on. The emotion. I mean, it was highly emotional already because of Brett Favre's situation. Yeah. Me personally, it was highly emotional because a year before that, I lost my mom in a car accident. At the same time that I had my first son. And then me and my brother for the first time was playing against each other on the NFL level, and we knew, you know, because we saw each other before the game, like, you know, at the hotel. He came to visit, or because we played at the Raiders, and we knew that, like, wow, if Mama was still alive, she would have saw us, 2 of her sons, playing against each other, you know. So it was already, and it was during that same time. It was during December. My mom passed away December 1st of the year prior, so it kind of was a 1-year anniversary of
a lot of emotions.
So it's, you know, I mean, if you ever lost anybody, it's not, it's you know, it's like
my mom too.
So it was already highly emotional. Brett Favre just was on fire. I was there the night before, and you just saw Brett going up and down. And the coach wanted me to be in there because I knew what it was like, you know, to my mom during the season. And Brett Favre actually was very gracious to me. I lost my mom. He got me a private jet so that I can go in there and take care of my anything I need to take care of, come back. And so I really thank him for that. But I was just in the room, just there, just to help him out. But it was, you know, just to relate. I could relate to what he was going through. I mean, he was happy, laughing, crying. I mean, you saw the emotions of just somebody grieving over their father and everything. But there was no doubt that he was gonna play. I think, you know, it looked like he was gonna go out there and just rip it. Yeah. And I know the mindset he had too, because when you lose somebody, you really don't care about. You can go one or two ways. You either just tank or you go the other way. You go extreme. Yeah. Brett, and I'm like Brett. We went the other way. Brett just And that day, he was just gonna. He didn't care if he threw interception. He didn't care. What's the coach gonna say? Man, what are you doing out there? You think I care? I mean, he just ripped it, and he threw like I literally seen it with my own naked eye. He threw for over 400, close to 500 yards just in the first half alone.
Yeah.
I mean, he just threw it up. He didn't care, you know. And I remember when we played Minnesota, and I lost my mom that week going in. I was light. I told the coach, I said, Coach, I'm you know, they wanted me to be around 240. I was 235. They said, Kabeer, don't worry about it. And I remember saying, it's going to take 11 guys to block. I didn't care. I was like, I remember taking McKinney and jacking him up, you know, and it just, you know, you just have this mentality. Like it's actually, you know, football is a very emotional game. If I had to, football is so emotional. And some days you don't have the emotion, so you have to try to garner up the emotion so you can be the very best that night. Well, when you go, and I'm not saying you want to lose anybody, but when you lose somebody, the emotional is just there. It's there, and it can make you become a beast. But you can also be the other way where you just lose it, you know. But if you're a professional, you can, you know, harness that and use it to benefit the team and everything like that. So but yeah, and I think in that game I had 3 sacks. I think
that's what I was gonna say. No one talks about it's the Brett Favre game with all the touchdowns, but you balled out with 3 sacks in that game, 3 tackles for loss. You had a great game as well.
Yeah, it was very. That's what I'm saying. It was very emotional. So like I was just ripping in there too. I mean, we were just having a field day. So obviously Brett having that many points to pack, the Raiders had no choice but to throw the ball. So I mean, I ended up having 3 sacks there in that game as well. So it was a good night, but it was a sad night at the same time. You know, you're torn, you know, because he just lost his dad the night before. So it was a very historical game, very, very historical.
And then that same year, I mean, there's quite a few games. The last game of the year where you guys are tied with the Vikings, I believe, or you guys had to win and the Vikings had to lose to get into the playoffs. And the Cardinals with an amazing wild comeback over the Vikings, a Josh McCown touchdown pass to Nate Poole in the final seconds. Do you remember watching that game and cheering for the Cardinals?
I don't remember because I think we were playing 2 at the same time, weren't we?
Oh, I'm not sure on that, but yeah, I know that.
I remember a lot of times we were playing and we were hearing it and we would just focus on our game or whatever. Yeah. So I don't remember sitting there watching it because we were doing our game. We just got to make sure we do what we needed to do. But I don't quite remember watching that game to see if we're going to get in the playoff or not. So, and I don't even remember that. I don't even know. Do we make it to we made it to the playoff every year. I think we was always making it to the playoff a lot of times.
Yeah, you got in that year. And then let's see here. Then you'd play Seattle in the wild card, and that's the game where Matt Hasselbeck said, "We want the ball and we're going to score." Did you hear that?
Oh yeah. And
what are your thoughts on that?
He ended up eating his word. Well, I mean, because Matt used to play for the Packers, and so we were teammates, and I got to know him a lot during our Bible studies and stuff. But yeah, no, he had to eat his word on that one. So we got back to the house and we won the game. So it was awesome.
That's awesome.
That was that year that Brett. Okay, yeah. That was big. That was huge.
And then I mean, I hate to bring this up, but then the next week was the Eagles and the 4th and 26.
Yeah.
What do you think on that? As a fan, I'm upset at the play calling on 4th and 26. How is that even something that can be picked up there? What do you think on that?
Well, I just remember just personally because I don't know what was going on, but all I know is we had 4th and 26. The team did call a stunt for us, you know, and I hate stunts, you know, and if I had to do it over again, I wish I would have just ignored the call and just ran up the field and get to the quarterback like I know how. But I was supposed to do an exit, like, you know, I was to give myself on the tackle, supposed to go around. And so I had to give myself up. So I'm double teamed and couldn't really, but I mean, that one, I mean, it doesn't bother me now, but back in the days, man, I tell you, I would say to this day, now I can honestly say it hasn't bothered me, but when you bring it back, thank you very much.
I apologize.
I gotta go back and think about that, but to this day now, I can say that that part, like that had to regret, because if we would have won that game, we would have went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first time I had an opportunity to make it to the Super Bowl. And I felt like because of my skill and what I could have done, that should have not happened. That was unacceptable.
I can only see it from,
but it is.
Yeah, I can only see it from a fan's point of view, and like it would just drive me crazy personally as well. It's like, come on now, like
That's I mean, the fact that you bring it up, and I know 4th and 26.
Well, I got a friend who's a big Packers fan, and he always brings it up, and he's always so upset about it. So now,
if I had to do it over again, I wish I would have just rushed that guy 1-on-1 and just and didn't do anything, because I hated when I had to go when they would do a stunt, and sometimes I could call it off, but I just okay, let me be a team player. We should be able to get this, but if I had to do it again, I wish I would have just.
Why do you think?
But I could have left a huge gap too, because if I go up, or I should have called it off, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. It is what it is.
Yeah, we'll leave that one alone.
Oh boy. You see, like you messed me up now. I'm all messed up now.
My bad, KGB. My bad. So let's go to 2004. You tie your career high in sacks and tackle for losses. A great year. A weird season as you guys start 1-4, losing, I believe, 4 straight, and then you go on a 6-game winning streak.
Is this what Brent last year?
No, 2004. This is the year that you guys played the Vikings in the playoffs with Randy Moss.
Okay.
And all that. But, I mean, that had to be a crazy year. Losing 4 straight and winning 6 straight, like the ups and downs of a season, you get lost in that, and to like rally from such a bad start, that showed a lot of character within the team.
Yeah, because we always just came and said, learn from the mistake and keep moving forward, and we did that, and we got better as the season kept on going. We didn't give up, and just the way our team was, we always just had this attitude that no matter what, if you're in there, give it your very best. If not, the next person come and do better or as good as the starter or better than the starter. So, I love how we always handled media. Because, all this stuff is an opportunity to point fingers and stuff, but we always stayed to the course of, hey, good game. They beat us. We're going to learn from this. We're going to get back. And, and to tell you have seasons like that, it actually makes you much better and make more hungry, as opposed to having a season where it's just winning, because you can kind of get lackadaisical. So obviously you're in that situation, it gets you just on edge and keep your eye on the prize and not get lackadaisical and everything like that. But doesn't mean that you want to. I'd rather win. Trust me, I'd rather win dominate. But that was that year. But we did have to kind of bounce back, and we made it. So. That
sense of belief where no matter what, we feel like we can bounce back and we can overcome. Does that a lot come from having a Hall of Fame and all-time great quarterback that you believe that he can always do something special?
Having Brett, I just, obviously playing at San Jose, I can't say I felt that way, or even high school, but having a Brett Favre into the Super Bowl, 3-time MVP, you always had a chance.
Yeah.
Brett Favre at the helm, and so I really think that do play a big difference.
So you did have one down year, and that was 2005 when the team struggled, went 4-12, and that ended up with Mike Sherman getting fired. In that offseason, going into that year, the team would draft Aaron Rodgers in the first round. What did you think, or any of your teammates think, of Brett Favre still playing at an elite level? I know he's older, in years, but he's still MVP consideration. And drafting a quarterback in the first round, did anyone have any issues with that, or what was the?
I think that when that was the same year that Mike Sherman got demoted from the GM position just to the head coach, and so that's when Thompson came in.
Okay.
Pretty much Ted Thompson dismantled the offensive line. I remember that was the year that Brett Favre took one hell of a beating. I've never seen him. getting sacked the way he got sacked, getting hit. I mean, usually we thought it was like the president getting shot or there was an assassination. But I mean, I just never see. I mean, I even seen him in a hot tub. I've never seen Brett Favre in a hot tub in the training room like this before. But that year he took a beating, and they literally dismantled his front. They got rid of Mike Wall. They got rid of Marco Rivera.
Yeah.
Marco Rivera. They just got rid of a lot of key people that just just didn't protect Brett, and so I felt like in the way they're trying to, I get it. The GM is trying to win with his new people, and he's trying to win through the draft. That's his thing, and so it really handicapped Mike Sherman. It handicapped the offense. So the defense was still intact. We still had our defensive thing. Nothing changed there. So once they kind of got rid of the offense and rebuilt that, then the following year they started working towards, what year was that? 2005. So I was there for 3 years. Then they started, trying to build the offense. And then once they kind of got the offense, then that's when they started, 2 or 3 years later, they went after the defense and started dismantling that, which I was a part of the dismantle. So
yeah, that's when they were doing the youth movement, bringing in Ryan Grant for Amon Green, Aaron Rodgers for Brett,
And I would even say, I'm just gonna say this out here because I mean this may help your show, but I'm going to be honest, I really felt like every year towards the end of the season they always gave Brett an opportunity just to chill out and relax. They didn't rush him, are you coming back or any of this stuff. I mean, they really just say, Brett, do whatever time you need.
Yeah.
Detox. He's been playing for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, that year. The year that he finally retired, they were pressuring, are you going to play or not? And then that's why I believe he kind of says, then I'm done. Because I'd be talking to a woman that had a baby, right? And he said, you want to have another one? I mean, she just had a baby. Let her, and then ask her 6 months later, is she ready? But don't ask her right when she just went through labor,
Especially after all he's given to the franchise over all those years.
So they pressure him, and not saying retire, but they would kind of make and then say, hey, you have to be there for, how they have what they call that stuff, training. What's that training? I don't even know what they call it. I forgot. Oh my goodness. In April is spring training. I don't know if they call it spring training or whatever like that. OTAs, but it was OTAs or there was a training that after the draft people would come. And they wanted Brett to be even there, So they were trying to just.
He doesn't need to do all that.
Wear him out when he didn't have to do those things before. So I felt that, unfortunately, that's why he ended up coming back because I knew he really didn't want to quit, but because of the pressure, he just gave an answer, and stuff like that. So anyway, I just wanted to just kind of put that out there, just to let you know that that year was tough to watch. That was a tough year.
Now, 2007, so that's the adjustment of 2005, 2006, with Mike McCarthy in his first year, and the team rebounded, went 8-8, but didn't quite make the playoffs that year. But then in 2007, you guys rebound nicely, going 13-3, win the NFC North in October.
That's what Brett, right?
Yeah, so that was the last year with Brett, 07.
Yep. And that year was very interesting. Well, keep going. Let me hear your question.
And in October of 2007 is when you would surpass Reggie White for most career sacks in Packers history with 69. At that moment, when you finally did it, after saying, I'm going to do that, what did that mean to you?
Well, it's kind of funny. Actually, when I broke the record, no one knew actually officially because Brett Favre just broke Dan Marino's record at that
Oh, wow.
And so they stopped the game. They gave Brett Favre it was at Minnesota. So I had 2 sacks, officially 2 sacks after the game.
Mm-hmm.
One where I sacked him at the line of scrimmage, but it was considered a tackle.
Yeah.
So when Brett did it, Brett had big news. It was big news. Brett Favre, Dan Marino was on the thing. Everybody was off. I mean, it was a whole big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no one knew about my stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't find out until Thursday.
Wow.
That following week. And it was good. See, I thought God was really good to me. So I got my moment because if it was the same time, I think it would have just went kind of under the radar.
Yeah.
But because Brett had his moment and, they were looking for something to write about before the next game.
Exactly.
They said, oh, we just heard Kabeer broke Reggie White's record. And so I had all this media. I'm thinking the whole media, it was like the Super Bowl came to my life. Broke Reggie White's record. How do you feel? And then so I had my little moment to shine and everything. And
That's awesome.
And everything like that. But yeah, no one really actually knew that I broke it. So I didn't know. I thought I thought I was going to have to wait the next game.
Mm-hmm.
I break it. I only had one left or a half a left, and I had to go break it there. But then I found out that I actually had 3 sacks in that game. So
Nice.
it was a big deal. It was a big deal because I accomplished my goal. I got I set out to do it, and I was able to break it with the Green Bay Packers.
Now, you mentioned it, being a California kid, being born and raised in LA. Playing in the playoffs that year against the Seahawks in the Snow Bowl. Did the cold weather of playing in Green Bay ever affect you, or were you naturally?
I was more affected playing at Soldier Field than I was at
Why is
Field
that?
because it's cold. I'm gonna tell you why. The Chicago Bears are cheaters, and let me tell you. I know you're a Chicago Bear, but if you look at the way the new stadium is built, right? They have this like spaceship, but then they have a side that's open. That's where the away team. The wind, you're right through the corner. Like, and the guys have they have no sleeves on, and we out there like, I'm like, oh, like if I have hypothermia out there, like I mean, I remember twice my earlier in my career where I was falling asleep. Like I'm just kind of like I'm thinking like I think I'm going through hypothermia or whatever because it was cold, And then I remember when we went to Soldier Field. I remember because I was just I got demoted again, towards the end of my career, and I was in a third down specialist. And I remember sitting on the end where the defensive line sit. The defensive line, you have the O-line on the other side. So anyway, I just remember like where I was sitting, the ground was really muddy. And this is, we have like heated seats and, for our helmets and stuff. But I was near the heat source, but I didn't know that. All I knew is that it was really muddy, and I didn't want to be around the mud. So I sat on the other end, and all of a sudden, I'm getting cold. Didn't even realize it. All I knew, I just wanted to have dry feet, but I'm getting cold. So now, I mean, there was one game we just wanted to be over. I remember the Chicago Bears were just kicking our butt. It was like, man, it is cold. It's over. We're not gonna win. I mean, even Brett's like, Green Bay. Everybody it was cold. So I had a harder time at Soldier Field because I think the Windy City, the coming off the lake made it really cold. So you know what I'm talking. I bet you already knew that they.
My first NFL moment live going to a game was Bears Seahawks in January with the snow falling, 2 beers in my hands, and I'm just like, it's cold as hell, but I'm like, this is heaven. Like I don't want to be anywhere else other than right here watching football. But I can't imagine being on the field like those hits in that weather have to hurt like
well, most of the time you're warm. So like even with the Packers now, it's warm. I mean, when you're moving around, and ours is a bowl, so you don't have that wind
coming straight up the lake like that.
Yeah, we don't have that stuff, but it does get cold. But I mean, when it's sunny, that's cold. But when you see snow coming down, it's actually warmer.
Really?
There's no snow, and it's just sunny and it's cold. And when you see smoke coming out of our mouth, that's not.
That's no fun.
Okay, yeah. So
that's crazy. And then so if you remember the 2007, I mean, so I hate to bring this up, but the last one, the NFC Championship game in 2007 against the Giants. Speaking of cold, that looked ridiculously cold. It was like single digits, 0 degrees, but a hell of a game. And you guys were so close in that game. What do you remember about that one?
Well, I remember that was an interesting year. It was the year that it was Brett's last year, I believe.
Yes.
And Brett, it was his last year, right? Because
with the Packers, and they played for the Jets in 2008.
But it was but that game that you're talking about, he played, right? No?
Yes. Last game was a Packer. Yep.
Yeah. And I remember that season, coming into that season, I remember making a prediction because I don't know if I didn't play in the preseason or whatever, but I made a prediction. I said, we're gonna go to the Super Bowl this year. But this is when they're already thinking that, They're going to get rid of Brett. Nike deal took away their Nike deal away from Brett.
Wow.
I mean, there was already all this stuff going on. And I remember talking to Brett. And I don't know if Brett remember. I made a bet with Brett. I said, Brett, I bet you watch. We're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl. And Brett shook on it. And I'm thinking, like, why would he shake on it?
Yeah.
And so in a way, I thought he doubted. You know what I'm saying? Because I was confident that we're gonna go. He made a bet that if we go to the Super Bowl, he was gonna go to a conference. It was like a Christian conference. I was gonna make him go to this conference. He said, "Yeah, I will go."
Mm-hmm.
So he betted. But I'm thinking, like, hey, I'm not gonna go to no Christian conference because we're gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? And so, to be honest with you, I really wasn't surprised when we got to that moment, and I felt like he choked. For the first time, I felt personally that he choked because I didn't think he had the typical Brett Favre faith of pushing through, you know.
Yeah.
And we lost that game. We didn't even have a chance to even defend it. I remember as a defense, we were confident, man. We were gonna. I mean, our defense was strong, you know.
Yeah.
And but we didn't even have an opportunity to defend it because when he threw that interception, they ran it all. I think they ran it back because the guy missed a kick the first time that went to overtime, and then we get it, and then he was able to, you know, get the kick, and then we lost the game. So that's what I really remember, and that was my second opportunity to get to the Super Bowl, and
those are the ones that have to sting. Those are the ones that have to sting the worst. I talked to like John Abraham about that, where the NFC Championship game, and it's like, you know, all you want is that opportunity to play in the Super Bowl and play for a championship and be so close. But I look at it like this: the NFL is so much a game of inches, and one bobble this way, one snap this way, can determine so much. And like you can't take away from how good those teams were.
No, and it's just so hard. I mean, even in the NFL, it's just hard. I mean, there's so many things that go on.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, as much as I didn't win the Super Bowl, at the end of the day, at least I did my very best. I ended up being considered one of the Packer greats. You know,
yeah.
Like I said, but I wanted to win that Super Bowl, but it just eluded me. And but I don't regret anything. It was I played with great people, great opportunities, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and a legend. And I mean, you would retire after the 2008 season. After playing 9 seasons in the NFL, 124 games played, 74 and a half career sacks, over 300 tackles, 17 forced fumbles, and a pick 6. A hell of a career. Most sacks in Packers franchise history, which is Clay Matthews has passed now, but still incredible. You've since been elected to the Packers Hall of Fame. What did it mean to be elected to the Packers Hall of Fame to you?
It was an honor. Like I said, I came in here just to try to break Reggie White's record, help the team win the Super Bowl, win team games, and to be able to get inducted that fast was just incredible. Because when you think about all the guys that I've seen, getting elected, they either won the Super Bowl, they were part of something. But when you look at me, and this is why I think that makes it so special, it wasn't because I was on the Super Bowl team. Clearly it was just showing that, wow, in spite of what I was working with or what I was a part of, I still was able to shine in the area of the time that I was in. And it wasn't necessarily because I was part of a Super Bowl team that I was a Packer great. I was just clearly just a talented player for such a time as that, with talented teammates, with talented coaches, and just people to be around. So, like I said, it was an honor. I couldn't ask for a better opportunity to play for the Green Bay Packers. It was an honor to play for that team, and everything. By the grace of God, I've been blessed through that organization. So
it's so cool, and for me, being a Bears fan, growing up watching you play, tons of respect. Even though you wore the green and yellow, I was like, that dude is a baller. Well-rounded, consistent, always brought it. And so I got mad.
Did you not say my name when you cussed me out or something?
No, I would never do that. No, I'm sure it happened from time to time, but looking back on, so what are you up to nowadays? What have you been keeping yourself busy with?
Well, I am a certified financial planner. So I went to school, got my CFP designation, which is very hard. There's only 80,000 in the United States that have that designation. And I
Wow.
was told, being that I played football, it's going to be hard because you have to have your degree. You have to take a 7-hour exam. And I can honestly say, in getting that designation, like a doctor has an MD, whatever. Well, I have Kabeer Gbaja-Biamila CFP, and
That's so cool.
it was harder than the Super Bowl. I felt you only get 5 chances to take the test. Once the 5th chance you don't get it, you can never ever.
Wow.
I can't get it. I was able to pass the second time around. I failed the first time, and I remember I'm gonna get back up. I remember even telling my children, "Hey, I failed, but you know something? I'm gonna get back up. I'm gonna study. I'm gonna do better next time." And I was able to pass it the second time around. So that's what I do now. I even help some athletes too with their retirement, with their finance. So that's kind of my specialty, is to helping athletes to be able to take what they got from their things and make it grow and be able to live off of that, just like I have been able to do that.
That's very cool. That's great to hear.
And then also too, I got a company that I got out there called the HOFer Collection.
Okay.
Kind of inside joke, but I am part of a ministry that they will say is cultish, and so they come to Kabeer is part of a cult. Kabeer's part of a cult. So I thought, like, hey, let's make that into something. So
that's cool.
So we got culture. So actually, we have a website going out, and our website is actually going up tonight, or it'll be up by tomorrow. And it's let me see if I can get you the thing. It's called cult dash let me say cult dash culture. So it's kind of a dash trying to separate cult from urecollection.com. So cult dash urecollection.com. So if anybody's interested on your thing, you can go in there, and we got sweaters, we got shirts like this, dry fit shirts, we got cotton, some for females and stuff like that. So it's actually kind of, people have been asking, like, where do you get that shirt from? So, at first we were just making it just internally, but now and I'm actually a model now. So I'm actually on there. You're going to see me,
there you go.
Modeling out and everything like that. So
I'll put the link on the episode. That's awesome.
I appreciate that. So that's pretty much what's going on. I've just been really busy just with my financial business, and that's really the thing that keeps me busy the most and everything. So
awesome. Well, I very much appreciate the time. It was awesome talking with you. I don't have a single bad thing to say about you. You're a great guy. You really helping me out coming on the show. It's awesome to get to talk with you and talk some football with a legend. So, you're the man, and I really appreciate the time.
Well, Alex, thanks for having me, especially being a Chicago Bear fan. I'm honored that you would even want to talk to me after all these years abusing you guys. So nice. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. So
so appreciate it, and have a good one, KGB.
All right, blessings. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and have a good one. Peace out.